And that's why I'm on the LE side. I'm such a huge advocate of having a very progressive patrol rifle program that is not very limiting. I want to encourage officers to engage with the public when they have a index of suspicion that the use of deadly force is potentially going to be possible in the near future, that they bring a rifle. And that is a huge thing, because it has no upside really unless you actually get in that shoot. And you have now the mechanical advantage, ease of shootability, and the terminal performance. All the way up until the time that you have to drop the hammer, that rifle's nothing but a pain in your ass. You have to secure it out of the vehicle. You have to put it back in cruiser ready configuration when you're done. You may or may not have scrutiny for increased use of force by the fact that you're brandishing your long gun as an officer, blah, blah, blah. There are agencies in this country that actually make you write up a separate use of force paperwork justifying to the supervisor why you took the rifle out of its rack or out of its case in the back or whatever. Your sergeant or your shift lieutenant is going to want to see documentation after that call out. Why did you take your rifle out? Why were you the only officer that took your rifle out? Write down and explain to me what circumstances led you to believe that the rifle was the right choice for this. And policies like that are going to ensure that officers are lazy and they keep their guns in their car. If I need to get home and see mama, the last thing I want to do is roll the dice that I'm going to fucking take this rifle out, not need it, and then have to do 20 or 30 more minutes of paperwork at the end of shift that I wouldn't have had to do otherwise. And when you put officers in that position of pick the right tool for the job, but make sure you pick right, because if you pick wrong, you just buried yourself in paperwork. That's just shitty. That is shitty fucking firearms policy. To your point about PDWs, I think it's more of a weight than a cube space. As somebody that has increased my fucking carrying and decreased it based on what's going on in the country, when I'm carrying a rifle and or plates, the weight of whatever bag I'm carrying that in is more of a pain in the ass to me than the size of the bag. I can get a small-ish AR platform using 300 blackout, law folder, like whatever. I can make a gun that I can fit in a regular civilian style backpack. But just carrying that civilian style backpack around with bandolier, placard, two plates, whatever, plus the rifle, it just starts to become heavy and it's a pain in the ass. And so I just ask people, if you're talking about truck gun, bug out gun, active shooter gun, like whatever, just you hold yourself to the same rules that you hold yourself to on summer carry. If you carry a Glock 43, because that's the only motherfucking thing you can conceal, and you can shoot that thing well enough that you don't think that you're undergunned, then you can get away with a Glock 43. If your split times and your accuracy is nothing to write home about with that Glock 43, then you need to be asking yourself how much of your summer carry is based on convenience versus how much your summer carry is based on capability. A PDW chassis or a summer carry micro compact, they're fine until they're not, and then that's when you find yourself outgunned. And this has happened downrange with not just one country, two different countries sent special operations people into Somalia to go fucking bring people to justice carrying MP7s. One was American, one was not American. In both cases, both of those elements that showed up with MP7s were forced into the fucking ocean by the Somalis. And so that's two different anecdotal environments where we're going to go in quiet. Nobody should know we're there. Let's carry these really quiet, compact guns to trunk monkey this motherfucker, whatever. And then it got loud and scary after that. And you don't want to be 2 or 3 minutes into loud and scary holding an MP7 and wishing you had a 416 in your hand or a full size AR. So that's my only kind of Uncle Chuck's, a bit of advice to the youngsters is you should always, the litmus test should always be, is this is this worth the weight that I'm carrying? And then is it worth the probability on the other side? And then you just make the best choice for you. I absolutely think that there's a place for PDW or even pistol caliber shit if you don't have access to a good quality small 300 blackout. I'm not a fan of sub 10-inch 5.56 ARs. You know, but that's my kind of rules for the road when I'm dressing for the occasion. Is I want the biggest platform performance wise that I can
Yeah.
reasonably carry.